When Roma met Lazio in early January, the giallorossi trailed their rivals by 15 points. Fast forward 3.5 months and the gap is down to just 2. And while Roma have been relentless in 2025, Lazio seem to be running out of steam. And the Biancocelesti will need to dig deep this evening after a grueling trip to Norway on Thursday. Pretty eloquent, the response from the Curva Sud when it comes to the choreography. What a game this is, the sights, the sounds, the colours, and Claudio Ranieri looking to make it 6 wins from 6. It is quite simply Lazio against Roma. It is the derby della capitale. Il tifo organizzato, the ultras once again coming up with these incredible, iconic images. What a backdrop against which this match will be played. Marco Baroni makes 5 changes to the 11 that began the defeat at Bodo Glimt. Luca Pellegrini and Husai come in, and Gigot rather come in, as do Rovella and Dele Bashiru. Castellanos is fit again to lead the line. It's his first league start in 2 months. Three alterations for Roma from last week's draw against Juventus. Salamakers is back from his ban, while Paredes is preferred to Cristante. Lorenzo Pellegrini plays just off Dovbik. And as mentioned, the captain scored the opening goal in January's derby win. The other man on target that day was Alexis Salamakers. Dovbik looking for his first goal in this fixture. It's not just a battle for City supremacy. Crucial points on the line in the race for European football. In by Isaacson, Romagnoli! What a save from Svila. It was nearly the former Roma player against the giallorossi.
Wow, Patrick, this is an outstanding save. Look at that.
One of the best keepers in Serie A this season, Miles Svila, and he showed why there. Zaccagni takes the corner, cleverly worked. Rovella brings it down, but hits it over.
Yeah, that was a decent free kick plan that worked well. Found Rovella unmarked in the middle of the box.
Nice driven ball that for Angelino. Angelino's cross. Mandas wasn't sure.
It's the second time that Paredes is trying to hit this long diagonal ball towards Angelino. Look, because Maruzic is staying with Salamakers and is pointing to Isaacson to follow the Roma number 3.
Mancini has scored a headed winner, albeit at the other end of the ground. That was pretty much this time last year. Paredes with the corner. Pellegrini waits. Mandas had to stretch, and for someone like Lorenzo Pellegrini, that wasn't the cleanest connection.
Yeah, Roma working well with some blocks. The target was probably Pellegrini on the back post area. Roma so dangerous.
Soule with the ball in. Ndika got his head to it. That was the last touch. Lazio survived.
Yeah, Guendouzi did well. Ndika looking to attack. And here, look, Pellegrini. Maruzic switched off for a second.
Nicely played over the top. Zaccagni will retrieve it. Here's Dele Bashiru. What a challenge from Zeki Celik. Just as Dele Bashiru was about to finish, Rovella's intercepted it. Now Guendouzi. Isaacson dropping the shoulder. Isaacson! There's another save from Svila.
That's another superb save, because Isaacson did everything well. Rovella is bossing in midfield. won the ball back and immediately served the number 18. That's a superb save. So I thought for a second that he got Sfila by surprise. But look, there is even a small deflection by Ndika.
Here's Marusic, well found by Mandas. Marusic for Castellanos, and now Isaacson. It's another save from Sfila. 3 times now he's been required.
Of course, you wanted to play these kind of games, but you have to give Mandas credit, and this goalkeeper huge credit, because there he reads the situation earlier, because that was an interesting finish.
Bashiru rolling away from Paredes, offsets Isaacson. One last opportunity for Lazio here. Isaacson's touch was heavy, that's a foul. It's followed through, took him into Kone.
Yeah, now Sozza.
And that's a big call from Simone Sozza, because that means Gustav Isaacson won't play any part at Marassi in the trip to Genoa, the other side of the visit of Bodo Glimt. Lazio with the better of the first half opportunities, but no way past Mile Sfila, who's been on his toes on a couple of occasions to keep out Lazio players. Biancocelesti probing more in search of a goal, but Roma are unbeaten in 2025 for a reason. They're resilient, the Giallorossi. They'll be hoping to be more expansive and ambitious after the break. It is, much like the Derby della Capitale always is, cagey and tight, and at the break, the scoreline reads Lazio 0, Roma 0. That is Ranieri's overall record against Lazio, but that doesn't factor in only his matches for Roma against the Biancocelesti. Ranieri having taken charge of so many different clubs in Serie A. You consider the likes of Inter and Fiorentina and Napoli, and Cagliari most recently, plus Sampdoria too, so understandable there have been some defeats to Lazio, but as Roma boss, 5 wins from 5. Brian Cristante is going to be a second half substitute here. We saw Paredes booked very early on in the game. It's Lazio have come the closer to scoring the opening goal. Isaacson twice denied by Sfila. Romagnoli's header kept out as well by the Roma goalkeeper from point-blank range. "98 days ago, Roma beat Lazio by 2-0. Started their climb up the Serie A table and continued to cut the gap on their opponents. Began tonight 2 points behind the Biancocelesti. If they can score a goal without reply in the next 45 minutes, they would leapfrog their city rivals. And are you surprised by that substitution, Manuel? Cristante on for Paredes.
Not really, Patrick, because we spotted the Paredes being really nervous. Then obviously we know in modern era with 5 substitution, a lot of managers takes the player that has been booked off the team. Now with the Cristante you go obviously maybe less technical ability in the middle of the park and maybe less leadership, but you got more physical presence in the middle area and even more danger from set pieces. Cristante got goals.
Pellegrini with the ball in. Romagnoli! This time he does it! And this time he scores in front of the Curva Nord. Could there be a more popular goal scorer? Two childhood Laziali linking up, two former Roma players combining. Pellegrini's free kick, headed home by Alessio Romagnoli in the derby.
That's some header, Patrick, a bullet header on the front post area. Credit to Pellegrini to play a wonderful ball in for the number 13, who attacks that zone with desire to score and put Lazio ahead. We might check maybe if there is a fall on Roma's keeper Pellegrini in the near post, but this man scores a crucial, huge goal for Lazio.
What a season it's been for Alessio Romagnoli. Roma had been warned about his aerial presence in the first half. Sfila was equal to the previous attempt. He could do nothing about this one. Pellegrini's ball in on the money. And Romagnoli now has 5 goals this season. Only 2 of them have come in Serie A. But this will be one of his career highlights. Of that you can be sure. Pellegrini with the corner. Mancini's header. What a save that is. Mandas keeping it out.
That is like a Superman save. Yeah, the ball was not with enough power, but Mancini, no, that's an astonishing save by Mandas. Wow.
The very definition of full stretch from Christos Mandas.
That's why probably it's been picked.
Certainly seems to be proving Baroni right. Now Dovbyk. Pellegrini caught by Rovella. Roma still have the ball. Celik. This is Soule. It's off target. It is Lorenzo Pellegrini then who's withdrawn after just shy of an hour. Cristante will presumably take the armband, or maybe Mancini, but it is going to be Shomorodov, who did score almost immediately after coming off the bench last weekend against Juventus. Zaccagni, the Lazio skipper, meantime. Silly challenge from Soule. Zaccagni was going nowhere. Roma down in 8th position. It was always going to be a real uphill climb for them to force their way definitively back into the European conversation. Plenty made the point that their fixture list was pretty benign in that 15-game unbeaten run, but then again they would reply, you can only beat what's in front of you. They have big matches on the horizon. Pellegrini with another ball in, and Guendouzi nearly grabbed a second. Clearly no contact from Shomorodov. Sfila seemed to have it covered. In fact, it was a touch from the goalkeeper that Romagnoli was appealing for, so good eyes from him.
Another terrific save by Sfila.
Absolutely, and it does mean Lazio have another set piece on the far side. And it comes from Zaccagni. Too high for Gigot. This is Dele Bashiru. Tried to force it through the crowd of players. Cornet. Angelino. Angelino with the cross. Too high for Dovbyk. Zaccagni's given it away. Celik! Straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, too central. But Zaccagni there has to use his experience and clear the ball properly. And here Celik went for the trivela.
Zaccagni, nice first touch. Still Zaccagni. He's bent it and nearly scored.
And that would have been some goal by Lazio's keeper. You know that he's gonna do that, but he does it so well.
Kone, Soule. Now Salamakers looking to inject some pace here. Salamakers, Soule! Did it cross the line? What an equaliser that is! Dybala out injured, but it's their young Argentine who has lit up the derby with one of the best derby goals in recent memories. Matthias Soule.
Mamma mia, Patrick! What a goal this is! When you need something special, you got special players on the ball. And Soule hit the top corner. Some style. Roma moving the ball so well. Then look this. What about that from a finish? Incredible goal. In a derby then. Mandas cannot save it. Absolutely stunning goal by Soule.
Special goal from a special player. It needed a big fee to prize him away from Juventus. Salamakers with the driven ball, lovely flick from Dovbyk. Shomorodov might have to go himself here. Still Shomorodov. Clever ball that for Dovbyk. Celik waits in the middle. Salamakers with the trickery, and it didn't miss by much. Lazio could still qualify for the Champions League by winning the Europa League, lest we forget. Zaccagni, Marusic making the run, given away to Pedro. And there is Svila to the rescue.
Again.
Lazio come again, Zaccagni. Pellegrini for Boulaïdia, and Boulaïdia can't score because Svila made himself big. Ndika nearly with the own goal.
Yeah, Svila is not just saving Lazio strikes, even Ndika, because he produced another wonderful save.
It was that end of the ground where he scored the only goal last April to win a derby for Roma. Soule with the ball in, Guendouzi heads it straight back to him. Back in by Soule, nearly caught the goalkeeper out.
Yeah, ambitious, but he probably spotted Mandas out of position.
5 minutes on the way. This is Pedro. Still Pedro. Boulaïdia was there. It's a corner.
Yeah, brilliant by Mancini.
In it comes from Pedro. And there's Noslin. Did he get a shove? No appeals from Lazio, but a big chance nonetheless.
Yeah, so close to be the hero of the derby. Look, Angelino lost him for a second.
Guendouzi. Fully expect the referee to bring this game to a close. Nothing to choose between Lazio and Roma in the end. Claudio Ranieri didn't make it 6 derby wins from 6, but he does end his career unbeaten as Roma boss in the derby della Capitale. Alessio Romagnoli scoring against his former club, but Matthias Soule with his best goal so far for Roma in the biggest game of the lot has earned the Giallorossi a point. It means their unbeaten run goes on. 16 unbeaten, but a missed opportunity for both sides in the race for Europe, and it ends at the Olimpico. Lazio 1, Roma 1.